Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you are having an amazing day. Let's get right into the stories. The first one is an entitled People story. When I bought my house last year, I was so excited to finally have a place of my own. What I didn't expect was the neighborhood crazy lady, let's call her Karen, who seemed determined to make my life miserable. It started with polite invites to join the homeowners association that Karen ran with an iron fist. I declined since I didn't want to pay extra fees or deal with nosy neighbors telling me what to do on my own property. Well, that set Karen off. Suddenly, there were fake code violations taped to my door almost daily. My grass was too long, or my fence was the wrong color. Karen even claimed my mailbox was not regulation size per homeowner association standards. I started avoiding my front door just to not run into her. Karen would pound on the door and demand I join the homeowner association. She acted like she had authority over me just because I was new to the neighborhood. The harassing got worse when I went on a week-long vacation. I came home to find a bill in my mailbox from the homeowner association for over $500. The notice claimed I owed fines for violations, administrative fees, and mandatory dues for the year. I saw red. This had gone too far. I marched over to Karen's house and pounded on her door, notice in hand. When she opened the door with a smug look, I lost it. I told Karen exactly what I thought about her fake fines and made up rules. A few days later, I followed up with a cease and desist letter drafted by my lawyer. I outlined all the harassment and made it clear I would sue Karen for damages if she continued. I took satisfaction mailing that letter, knowing I finally stood up to the neighborhood bully. Karen must have gotten the message because the harassment stopped completely. She even avoids eye contact when I'm getting my mail now. I'm just glad I didn't let her intimidate me into joining that ridiculous homeowner association. And if she tries anything again, I won't hesitate to give her another dose of her own medicine. The next one is a pro-revenge story. My best friend Karen is a first-grade teacher, and as soon as she told me the story, it gave me such a sense of justice that I knew I had to retell it here. 2 years ago, Karen had a student named Xavier. He was a sweet little 6-year-old boy when things were good, but his parents had just gotten divorced. His mom wasn't that great even before she was out of the picture, and his dad was quite disengaged from both his son's behavior and his IEP, Individualized Education Plan. Rather understandably, Xavier acted out in class. He'd refuse to listen to Karen, push other kids, and disrupt class in more ways than I could possibly list. Now Karen worked tirelessly with Xavier to improve his behavior and get his dad more involved in a positive way. She'd often call me to talk about it and decompress because that's what friends were for. But occasionally Xavier went too far and did something she couldn't just deal with in class, like trying to stab another student in the hand with a pencil. On those occasions, she wrote him up with a referral and sent him to the vice principal, VP. But surprise, surprise, VP was absolutely no help whatsoever. He'd joke around with Xavier, refuse to address the problem Karen sent Xavier there for, give him candy, and then lecture Karen for writing up a 6-year-old for any reason because it reflected badly on VP. I'm pretty sure this has to do with the issues related to merit pay, but whatever. Unfortunately, his actions made it significantly harder for Karen to help Xavier. To top it all off, Karen figured out after a few referrals that VP logged into the system and erased each of Xavier's referrals, thus erasing all evidence of Xavier's pattern of behavior. In a word, this is BAD. I know nothing about education, but I sure know that much. My brother was a holy terror in elementary school and got in so much trouble from 3rd to 6th grades that both the principal and vice principal were on a first-name basis with my mom. Those records sure didn't disappear. Not into the shredder and certainly not into the digital ether. She reported this to her higher-ups who weren't VP, but they both told him about the complaint and specified that Karen was the one making the complaint. VP was cold and rude to her after that. Nothing was done about it because it seemed to be a one-time thing. But now Karen knew what to do. Every time she had to write Xavier up again, which thankfully happened less often as the year went on, she meticulously documented everything herself. She sent herself all the relevant stuff, saved the emails, the whole shebang. By the end of the year, Xavier's behavior had greatly improved, thanks to her mentoring and the various ways she learned to engage with him in the classroom. She even talked to his second-grade teacher to make sure the woman knew how to work with Xavier. God, Karen went above and beyond for this child. Partway through the next school year, the higher-ups came to talk to Karen again. Even though nothing was done about her complaint the previous year, a record had been made of it. As it turns out, another teacher had reported VP for doing the exact same thing to her as he'd done to Karen. If she had anything related to her own ordeal, they wanted to see it. Oh boy, did she. She gave them every single digital receipt she'd accumulated for the better part of a school year to compare with VP's, establishing a pattern of him undermining teachers by erasing students' patterns of behavior. VP was quickly removed from his position as vice principal of Karen's school, even though he wasn't technically fired. He was just moved to a different school and put in a much lesser position, with significantly lower pay. Bonus: he taught history at Karen and my high school while we attended it, and everyone loved him. I look forward to telling this whole story at our reunion because we sure don't like him now. The next one is a petty revenge story. So my 18F mother, 50-something F, kicked me out today because I wouldn't let her financially take advantage of me. She told me to get out and take nothing with me, then she left. I'm really fortunate that one of my friends lives in the same building as me, so we were able to take everything I owned in about 3 hours. I've been seeing this coming for a while, so most of my things were already packed away. Now, a little context for my friend. She, bless her heart, has the worst body odor I've ever smelled. It's bad. Like, never completely come out of fabric bad. And for the past 3 hours, we have been running up and down 2 flights of stairs, carrying heavy boxes. So, as we sit on the couch resting and taking the place in before we never return, I allow myself one petty thought. I grab my mother's pillow and I hand it to my friend. She understands the assignment. That pillow goes under her armpits, her back, her chest, anywhere it can soak up 3 hours worth of sweat. That pillow sees hell. We put the pillow back in its place and leave. Now, I don't know if she actually meant for me to leave or not, but when she gets home and sees my room empty, I hope she regrets chasing away the last person who cared for her, and when she gets in bed and lays her head down on her pillow, I hope she cries. Update: I was really shaken when I made the first post and I left out a lot of details because I just wanted to share a funny moment. But I've been getting a lot of questions and I can't sleep, so I wanted to answer a few of them. The most asked one is, of course, what do you mean by taking advantage of you financially? First of all, no, she didn't ask me to pay rent. I would kill to just pay rent and know my living situation will be secure. I'm not sure where to start that would give enough context, but I'll start by saying that my mother is a narcissist. She is a miserable woman that everyone who has ever known her has hated. She is a leech that has only ever known how to take from others. She's been addicted to gambling since before I was born, and she certainly hasn't stopped now. Anyways, I'll get into the main story. Please keep in mind that my knowledge is very limited. Most of it came from her, and she is the least honest person I know. I don't understand much of this to begin with. So about a year or two ago, my great-grandmother passed away and left her house to my mother. The house is in a gated community trailer park with a horrible board/homeowner association, something like that. I'm not sure exactly what it is. My mother explained it to me as a club, and to live there you need to qualify to join it. To qualify, you need to own a trailer, a truck to pull it, and go on a few camping trips with them. My great-grandparents promised that we wouldn't have to do anything, but the club demands that we go through the process to qualify to live there. Our living situation isn't awful, but it's stressful to maintain. My mother found some guy to drain of his money, and they've been fighting over rent every month. I'm not told much, but I saw a paper that said we owe a lot. I truly don't know why we didn't move down to the house to live basically rent-free. She said it was so I could finish high school with my friends, but I don't believe her. She didn't want to move there, but she didn't want to sell it either. She claimed that it was both because of sentimentality and because she knew she would gamble all the money away the moment it hit her bank account. I know my great-grandmother's death was hard on her, and her grief made her spend more nights at the casino. I would almost feel sorry for her if she didn't make her 16-year-old daughter comfort her at her grandmother's deathbed. So once she burned any money she inherited, she pawned off the trailer and I assume the truck too, but I never heard much of it. She pawned anything valuable she could find. She would often ask me for money to keep from losing them forever. She'd often just ask me for money for any reason. Once she realized that she couldn't just win back enough money to get the trailer back, she started begging me for the money, not me, begging me to ask my dad for money. They've been separated since I was about 11 and haven't spoken a word to each other since. The night before my 18th birthday, she told me that I needed to get money from him, or she would lose the trailer, and then we would lose the house. I already felt bad enough receiving any money from him, but asking him for thousands of dollars? For my mother? He would literally never give her anything. And apparently, it would just be all my fault that we lost the house. I barely made it 20 minutes before breaking down and leaving school early the next morning, walking 2 hours uphill home. That was about 8 months ago. It's just been a constant stress with her demanding things of me that I just can't do every month or so. Recently, she finally decided to sell the house because she couldn't qualify to live there. She found someone to sell it to, even if it's for a lot less than what it's worth. 5 days ago, I'm just sitting at my desk when she comes into my room and just tells me that she gave my number to her agent and that he's going to call me. She doesn't elaborate until I ask, why? And she just tells me that she's going to put the house in my name and that I'm going to sell it. I am 18. I barely understand half of the things she has told me about what's going on with the house. I really don't care whatever advantage I might get from it. It's too much stress and I have no idea what I'd be doing. No one is going to tell me what the consequences of this could be. I wouldn't even understand half of what I'd find online if I tried to look it up. I don't even know what to ask. This is an absurd thing to ask of anyone so inexperienced. Why is she doing this, you ask? She said that because of the taxes she owes, if the money went into her account, it would be used to pay them all off, and she wouldn't get to keep most of the money. You see, I don't really understand it completely, but I've been told that this is tax evasion. My own mother wants to use me for tax evasion. Whatever her reasons and intentions, I don't trust her. I may be missing out on a lot of money, but my loss is none of her business. The consequences of her actions are finally catching up to her, and she's upset that I won't sacrifice myself for her. I've got my whole life ahead of me, and I don't want to start it off any worse than I already am. Anyways, I know that if I have that money, she will never stop asking for it. She'll just do what she already does, but on a larger scale. Ask to borrow money, never pay it back or pay half it months later. Then she said she will. Then beg forgiveness while asking for more. She will do it for the rest of my life if she can. So I immediately called my dad and we made a plan to talk to the agent together once he gets back to my state from his vacation. Horrible timing, I know. But things happen way too fast. Today I was still in bed when my mom comes into my room and again just tells me that she's going to put the house in my name and have me sell it. Then she tells me there's fees, $1,200-ish, for doing this stuff and she needs me to get the money from my dad. I haven't even put on my glasses yet, much less think about what I'm going to say. So I just tell her what I always tell her, that he won't give her anything. And she just ducking loses it. I don't say anything else. What I'm realizing now was a trauma response. And it just makes her even angrier. She screams at me that I'm stupid and an idiot over and over until she just tells me to get out and go live with my dad. So yeah, I wish she just asked me for rent. Sorry if taking advantage of me financially wasn't the right way to put it. I'm just not sure what else to call it. Second most asked question is, are you okay? I will be. My dad is going to pick me up from my friend's apartment tomorrow. He's going to help me get my life together and make sure I'm successful. It feels weird for once to be thought of without anyone else gaining anything from it. My parents separated when I was about 11, 12. We tried to make split custody work, but my mom wouldn't stop trying to turn me against him. She made me tell him I didn't want to see him anymore, and I never saw him again until I was 15, 16. I've been steadily spending more time with him since then. I've also been talking to a therapist for about a year. I'm not alone in this. Has your friend tried X? Your friend might have She, 18F, I forgot in the first post, oops, said she just has bad genetics and that a lot of her family has the same problem. Her hygiene is fine and most of the time I don't smell anything. It's just that when I texted her for help, she was also in bed and didn't have the chance to shower or put on any deodorant. With the constant labor and stares for such a long time, it was literally the worst-case scenario. Did you get all your important documents? Sadly, no. My mother is a mess, and so are her things. I wouldn't know where to find anything, nor what they even look like. It's just something I'm going to have to deal with later. Freeze your credit! Ha ha. Yeah, I don't have a credit card. I didn't have my own bank account until about 3 months ago when I got my first job. So much has been going on that I never got around to it. I don't have any kind of shared account with my mother, as there would literally be no point. She would just gamble anything I'd put in there. Before, I had a shared one with my dad that he would put money in every once in a while. I'm very fortunate that he's been doing well. Another edit. Yeah, thank you for the advice. I'll admit I didn't really know what this was. I'm going to do this, don't worry. How do you not know how old your mother is? Because her birthday is on Christmas, and I haven't spent a Christmas with her in about 3 years. We don't celebrate holidays, and I wouldn't want to, even if she wanted to. I literally forgot, and it's not exactly something you talk about every day. I barely saw her, what with her door dashing to make money all day so she could waste it that night at a casino and all that. Well, what was her reaction to the pillow? Sorry, I'm just as disappointed as you are. I never got a reaction text. Then the question I assume I'll get, OP, you're 18 and you just got your first job. What's wrong with you? You're lazy. Yeah, I have depression and what I thought was anxiety, but has been recently diagnosed as CPTSD, a gift from my mother. I haven't been doing okay for as long as I can remember. I barely graduated high school, I definitely wasn't fit to work. I don't even have a driver's license because no one ever taught me how to drive. I was raised to be dependent on my mother. I wasn't even taught to think for myself. I'm just now starting to undo all the damage she's done. Her kicking me out will be the kindest thing she's ever done for me. The next one is a malicious compliance story. This happened recently. We have a monthly local basketball event, normally lasting 4 to 6 hours. It is all in good fun, and we often play under the winner stays on rule. Originally, people would create a team and come to play. This way, you could play with your friends. But it used to cause an issue with good players only wanting to play with other good players. And sometimes bad teams only wanted to play with their friends, making it uncompetitive. If you come late or don't have a team, you are often treated as a substitute. So now, LJ, the event organizer, makes sure teams are spread out to ensure everyone gets a chance of winning and staying on. My team consisted of myself, a guy LJ knew from playing in the park, we'll call him Parker, and 3 other guys named Tony, James, and Mello, all fake names. LJ thought we were a decent team because Parker and I play often, and Tony is quite tall. We just played our first game and we lost. It was not a big deal, as we often treat these as a feeler game to see how intense good everyone is playing. Parker took a majority of the shots because he wanted to play the point position where you start with the ball. I didn't complain because I wanted to know his play style. The team we lost against was good, but they weren't amazing. The second game comes around and we play them again. Parker is doing the same thing, and I am playing well. I scored 6 out of our 6 points, playing 1s and 2s. And it's a tied game. Parker is ball hogging and missing. I keep calling for the ball, but he is just forcing shots up with multiple defenders on him. We end up losing, and he is angry. He is shouting and complaining about how we should have done better, to which one guy says he's not passing the ball. This man has the audacity to then lie and say, "Whoa, what do you mean I am the only one keeping our team in the game?" I get upset and shout, "We had 6 points, and I scored all 6 points. Shooting and scoring aren't the same thing." He is now mad and complaining about how we are holding him back. We have now been there for about 1 hour, and one of the guys on the team we lost to has to leave for a collection. Parker is still shouting and complaining about how we are holding him back, and talks about how he is now leaving us for a better team. We were more than happy for this to happen. During events, it is often that when you have a team, you stick to that team in the name of fairness, and don't allow changing. Once this man left, we stopped losing games and went on a massive winning streak, beating Parker repeatedly. He was doing his antics with the other team as well. Eventually, the guy came back, and they didn't need him anymore. This man then had the audacity to try and weasel himself back into our team. We rejected him under the pretense of, "We already have a full team, sorry." He was livid and went to LJ complaining, but there was nothing he could do because it was his decision to originally leave when he didn't have to. Thank you for watching. I would really appreciate it if you could like the video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already.